Possum the Appalachian said, what was your favorite meal your mother cooked? That's a very good question. And by the way, if you guys don't know who Possum is, you should go check out her page. She's a really sweet, down-to-earth person, and I think you guys will enjoy her content, and you should give her a follow. She deserves it. So for breakfast, my mom, the favorite meal that my mom cooked was biscuits and gravy. Her homemade biscuits and her hamburger gravy. To this day, sausage gravy doesn't do it for me. I miss that good old hamburger gravy that my mom used to make. It was so good, and her homemade biscuits were to die for. Like that meal, it was just one of the best things you could ever eat. And sometimes she would make tomato gravy, which was like a thicker version of tomato soup, kind of. The thing had chunks of tomato in it as well. And then we would usually eat that with thick slices of homemade bread with butter, and then pour that warm tomato gravy over it. Kind of meld into the butter and the bread. It was so good. Normal breakfast, though, consisted of 1 egg usually, and then maybe a little bit of cereal. You know, 1 egg, a piece of bread with butter, and a little bit of cereal. And sometimes she would have what we call grape nuts. It was a cereal that she made, homemade. It was pretty good with milk. Other times we would have cereal out of boxes or bags from the grocery store, like Aldi's, something like a bulk place where you could get like a big bag of cereal or a big box. And then for lunch, or dinner as we call it, one of my favorites was always like fried chicken, or sometimes she would bake it in the oven. But chicken, mashed potatoes, and gravy, again, hamburger gravy. Or sometimes she would have a canned steak that she would make. So it would already have been cooked once. It was sliced pretty thin, and then she would brown it in a skillet, and then use the grease from that, or I guess the juices from that, to make her gravy for the mashed potatoes if we didn't have chicken. But chicken was always our favorite. There was 8 of us kids, and then with my mom and dad, there was never enough chicken to go around in our family, so we were allowed a few pieces. And then for supper, one of my favorite meals was always haystack, which was basically a bunch of layers of food, and you'd have to look up the recipe. A lot of people make it differently, but there's a lot of recipes out there on haystacks. And then she also had this meal called yamaseti that she would make. It was basically kind of like a hamburger helper type deal, but it was homemade. She would start with noodles. I think she had some cream mushroom soup in there, some hamburger, some ground beef, whatever, maybe some tomatoes, some stuff like that, some cheese, and it always ended up being really, really good. And then her homemade pizza was always pretty good too, but she always used like a really soft pizza dough, and then she would line it with basically ground beef that she had seasoned in a certain way, and then just put thin slices of Velveeta on top, and that was her homemade pizza. It was really good. I miss it.